We'll meet the new mayor of St. Louis Park. You can learn how to become a hydrant hero, plus how to save money on your heating bill. That and more on Life in the Park.
Welcome to this week's edition of Life in the Park. I'm Mary Schreier. In this week's cover story, we'll get an introduction of our new mayor, Jake Spano, and his vision for the future of St. Louis Park. That's coming up, but first, here's the latest news and events in the park. The St. Louis Park Fire Department would like to remind homeowners and businesses with fire hydrants on or near their property to please shovel the snow around the fire hydrant after each snowfall and keep the hydrant clear of overgrowth of plants during the summer. There are about 1,700 fire hydrants in St. Louis Park, and while we have a crew of firefighters removing the snow, they cannot clean all of them in a timely manner. Protect your family and neighbors when seconds count by becoming a hydrant hero. To adopt a hydrant, go to hydranthero.org, choose a hydrant, click on the Adopt Me link, and fill out the registration form. You can even give your hydrant a name. Questions can be directed to Assistant Chief Carrie Smith at 952-924-2171 or Lieutenant Ava Hansen at 952-924-2599. Did you know heating your home accounts for up to half of your annual energy bills? A new heating system can save you $120 to $200 a year. Reducing your utility bills is just one of the many reasons why it is important to replace your old, that's 20 plus years, heating system with a new energy efficient model. The City of St. Louis Park's Home Improvement Loan Program is administered by the nonprofit CEE Lending Center and can make having a new heating system a reality with our low-income home improvement loan programs. Contact CEE's Lending Center today at www.mnlendingcenter.org or call 612-335-5884. Do you want to show off your recently remodeled home? Every year, the City of St. Louis Park hosts a home remodeling tour featuring 6 recently remodeled homes in the city. The 2016 tour is taking place on Sunday, May 1st from noon to 4 p.m., and the city is looking for a few more homes to participate. If you have renovated or remodeled your home and are interested in telling your story, we would love to have you apply. Please contact Marney Olson at 952-924-2196 or molson@stlouispark.org. Place is building Minnesota's first truly sustainable arts community right here in St. Louis Park. This new community will feature affordable live/work apartments for creatives, shared maker spaces, alternative energy, on-site greenhouses with CSA, an urban forest, access to mass transit and bike trails, and much more. They need to hear from you to figure out what your needs and desires are for living and working spaces. So they've launched an online survey that asks some crucial questions, but only takes about 5 minutes to complete. Go to www.welcometoplace.org/St. Louis Park. The Metropolitan Council approved a $2 million grant to fund Place's St. Louis Park community located on Minnesota's newest light rail line and the largest dedicated bike trail in the country. This community will offer active people multiple transportation alternatives to the car. The development will be powered by Place's e-generation process that makes renewable energy from organics and grows organic food in the on-site greenhouse. You're also invited to share your thoughts at a community meeting on Thursday, January 28th at the St. Louis Park High School, room C350 at 6 p.m. The St. Louis Park Traffic Department has just completed a major overhaul by replacing the street name signs with new high-intensity signs at 1,034 locations within the city. The project was completed during the winter months over the last 3 years. The new high-intensity signs were installed to comply with the federal regulations that mandate all highway signs meet minimum retroreflective requirements. The street signs were replaced over 25 years old and had reached the end of their life cycle. Each of the 2,064 signs, 2 per location, were handmade in-house by staff. Originally, the retired signs were processed for scrap at a local recycler. In April of 2015, staff received a request from the St. Louis Park Historical Society stating that they would like to initiate a fundraiser where they would sell old street signs. Working with Jean Anderson of the Historical Society, the city agreed to donate the remaining retired signs toward their fundraising cause. We are happy to announce that the partnership was a huge success, and as of October, over 360 signs have been sold, raising over $9,000. The city has recently delivered the last 200 signs to the Historical Society for future fundraising efforts. St. Louis Park Friends of the Arts is hiring a part-time marketing and membership manager, thanks to a grant from the Metropolitan Regional Arts Council. The position will be key in enabling their organization to catalyze new levels of arts engagement in our community. Click on slpfota.org/hiring.html for details, information, and how to apply. Well, Mother Nature certainly cooperated in a big way with sub-zero temperatures, allowing all of the city's outdoor ice rinks to finally open. Please check the city website, stlouispark.org, for rink locations and warming house hours of operation. Keep in mind that warming houses will close when the temperature falls below -5 degrees and/or the wind chill is -15 degrees or lower. For updates, you can call our weather line at 952-924-2567. The new City Parks and Trails map is available now. Each colorful map is full of year-round information about our regional and nature trails, ice skating rinks, city parks and rentals, off-leash dog parks, fishing, water fun, and much more. Pick up your free map now at City Hall or the Rec Center. In this week's cover story, St. Louis Park's new mayor, Jake Spano, sat down with Scott Smith and talked a little bit about himself and his role in guiding the future of our city.
Well, thanks for taking a few minutes to talk with us today, Mayor. Let's jump right in. Let's talk about yourself, where you come from, your family. What do you do for a living, your hobbies? Let's find a little bit about Jake Spano.
Well, thanks. Thanks, Scott, for having me. I guess I'll sort of start at the back end. I don't really have a whole lot of hobbies. I stay pretty busy with a full-time job, and now having been on the council and now being mayor, so that takes quite a bit of my time. So if it's not taking my kids to hockey or some other activities that they've got going on, I'm really limited to a little bit of travel. Family likes to do a little bit of travel and reading. So that's pretty much what I get the chance to do. But my background, I grew up in Kansas, moved here to St. Louis Park about 13 years ago, but went to school in Minnesota, and my family is all from Minnesota. My dad's from Columbia Heights, and my mom is from a farm town in southwest Minnesota, so had family roots here. And when I was picking colleges and places to go, I knew I wanted to come back to Minnesota because it kind of had a magical place in my heart and a special place in my heart. So, but my wife teaches in the public schools here. She's a third grade teacher at Susan Lindgren, and I've got 2 teenage kids that are in the public schools here. So they keep me busy. And for my day job, I'm Chief of Staff for the Secretary of State, Steve Simon, who used to be one of St. Louis Park's state representatives, and now he's Secretary of State, so I get to spend my days working with him, which is great.
I've just found out much more than I ever knew about.
That's right.
Very interesting. Jay, what prompted you to run for a public office in the first place? It sounds like you're awfully busy.
Yeah, but it's I guess, to be honest with you, Scott, it was this is sort of the continuation of the last 10 years of my life. About 10 years ago, I was had been working in the private sector my whole life and doing well, but not feeling like I was completely fulfilled, right? And one day, my wife cornered me in the kitchen one morning before I was leaving for work, and she said, "You're miserable at your job, and today you're going in and you're going to quit." And I had 2 children, and we just bought a house in St. Louis Park like about a year earlier, a little more than a year earlier. And I was terrified, but I was also really excited that I had someone who was supporting me in that way, and I did, and sort of took some time off, reevaluated what I wanted to be doing, and really decided that I loved public policy. I loved the idea of getting together and making decisions for sort of a collective good. And went back to graduate school, got a degree kind of in public policy, and started working on Senator Amy Klobuchar's campaign. She was my internship for my grad program, and I always joked that I was the oldest unpaid intern on a political campaign probably ever, because I think I was like 36 at the time. really enjoyed it. When she won, she offered me a position on her staff and worked there for several years, and then worked for Chris Coleman as the director of marketing for the city, which was kind of a perfect blend of my interest in sort of community and public service, but also sort of my background in marketing and in sales and in creative things. And so worked for him for 4 years before the secretary came along and asked me to come and help him in his office. So it's being mayor or running for city council really is just the latest iteration, right, of my desire to want to help folks. And I was my neighborhood president for a while before I was on the city council, and I really kind of got a taste for what that felt like and what kind of community we had here in St. Louis Park, and made me excited about being on the council and eventually being mayor.
We're getting short on time. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, except I'm really, really excited. I'm going to start doing, there's a couple things I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start doing mornings with the mayor, where I'm just going to pick a coffee shop here in St. Louis Park and shoot out on Facebook and some of the city's social media channels and newsletters and what have you. And I'll be there for a couple hours, and if people want to come and talk, they can come and chat with me about anything that's on their mind. One of the things that I've heard from people when I was campaigning and just in being on the council is that sometimes they can be intimidated coming in this room and looking at the, looking at the desk with all these people. And of course, we all sort of joke about it because, we always sort of imagine ourselves as people in bathrobes, like padding around the house at 6 a.m. with a cup of coffee. We don't really think of ourselves in any sort of intimidating way, but understanding that some people aren't comfortable standing in front of a microphone and in front of a TV camera and talking about issues. Just want to make sure that they have options if they want to do that. So I'll be announcing some dates coming up soon, and then we're also changing up the State of the City. Historically, we've always done the State of the City about 7:30 in the morning on a Thursday morning. We're going to move it to the afternoon, 4:30 in the afternoon on February 29th, Leap Day, and we're going to do it at Steel Toe Brewery. So it'll have a very different feel than past ones, but hopefully if folks want to come out and hear what's going on in the city and talk to any of the council members or myself and city staff, they'll get a little bit better chance to do that at 4:30 than at 7:30 in the morning.
I agree 100%. 4:30 is much more my time.
Much more livable,
So-
that's right.
All right, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us, and we look forward to the next 4 years, Mayor.
Well, thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.
Remember, you can keep up to date in the park by visiting our Facebook page at facebook.com/St. Louis Park, or you can check us out on Twitter at twitter.com/St. Louis Park. That's it for this week's edition of Life in the Park. Thanks for watching. Join us next week for another edition of Life in the Park right here on Park TV.